Well, thank you all so much. I was running late this morning because I had child care issues. My husband got called into work. There is another seat up here, by the way. He's a police officer, so I kind of have to do the dance when it happens and play the babysitter game. And I texted all three of them, and one of them was there in 20 minutes. But I missed Linda's talk this morning, unfortunately. So it's recorded. But I just want to let you know I've heard amazing things, and I am not that good. Okay? I'm funny and nice, and I'll try and give you useful information, but I'm not that good. Okay? So lower the expectation bar this much, please. There is still a beautiful seat right here. Someone's going to take it. Please come take a chair. Please. Come on. I'm going to take it. No.
Give him a free pen.
Oh, hey, a free pen. Free pen with seats. Yay! Oh, no, he's not doing it. Come on. All right. I'm going to keep this pen too then. Now I am pen fresh. Okay, hi everyone. Good morning. My name is Kuvakas. I teach for many different colleges, including Hartnell College, who I'm officially affiliated with in the system. That's in Salinas, Monterey County. Anyone heard of Hartnell College? Yay! It was misspelled on someone's slide the other day, and I was a bit itchy. There was no T in Hartnell, and I thought, uh-oh, we're not very well known. I also currently work with San Diego Mesa College, working in student services as an adjunct professor, though, with Hartnell, Brandon University, American Public University. I am completely online now, but spent quite a lot of time doing flipped classroom. And since this has become really something that a lot of people are interested in, I decided to design my presentation on this and hopefully provide you all with some information that you can take back to your classes and really move forward with the goals that you have with some practical advice. So I want to do a quick survey. If you are technically faculty in whatever capacity, I'm going to go with mathematically 90% of the room. Lovely. Faculty and something else? Okay, quite a handful. And there's something else. I saw you. Hello, something else. I only mention this just because a lot of times faculty get the overwhelm when it comes to flipped classrooms. The ideas sound good, but really the reality sounds a little scary. So I want to start off with a little story with some visuals. Let's go. Once upon a time. Okay. I want us to go back to 2010, University of Colorado at Boulder, Dr. Andrew Martin. This is a real person who really did this, and I learned a lot from studying his work. And he had an introductory biology class, and the students would come in, slowly trickling in. We've all seen this before. Our classrooms are filled with this. They come in, they sit down, they chat to one another, they put their heads down. Someone called it assuming the position yesterday. Was anyone else in that session? Yeah, and she physically did this. It was so funny, and I thought that's exactly where I'm going. We all have seen this before. He looks out across the room and he's thinking, how is he going to reach these students today? Here they are. They're already checked out. They walked in the door and checked out. So how can I reach them? How can I bring to them my excitement about biology? I still love it, okay? And he's thinking, when I look out in the classroom, I want to see this former picture, not this latter picture, right? So he starts to think about, well, I want to change. I really want to change how my classroom is working. But if I do that, I'm going to have to redesign my whole course. Oh my God, I'm going to have to start from scratch. I'm going to have to take a whole new textbook because this one's just not going to work, right? And that takes time, and I have to get approval, and I'm going to have to find all new resources. I'm starting from zero again. If I want to change this and really reach them, I'm going to have to do a complete reset. Has anybody ever felt that way? A lot of nodding heads, even some hands raised. Yeah, I think we really have been there before. I already have too much work. Like he's thinking, okay, I could do it, even with that, even with those challenges. But I already have enough work. Think of how tired I am already, how little I see my family. I have more grading than I know what to do with. They're not going to pay me to do this, for the most part. Okay? You may be lucky enough to be somewhere where they would fund your course redesign, but it's pretty rare, pretty rare. And the students aren't going to change anyway. let's talk about the culture of our students for a second. A lot of the assumptions when we come into the classroom and we see our students in the position with their heads in their phones, that they really aren't going to change. Nothing we can do can reach them. Have you ever felt that way? Yeah, again, a lot of nodding heads. So we've been there before. So when Dr. Martin thinks about all these things, he's like, maybe it's just not worth it. Honestly, we've all thought that as well. So I want to kind of talk to you about how simple it can be to get started, because we want to see more of this. We want to see more walking around the classroom, interacting with your students. We want them interacting with each other. We want Socratic thinking. We want discussion, vibrancy, energy, and how can we get there? When we look at the current state of the classroom, whether this is on the ground or online, it's kind of similar. You can see we start with an in-class lecture. That looks like maybe I made that face before. That's not me, of course. I'm not that cute. But I've made that face before in lectures. Get to at-home assignment. What is that student feeling right now? Frustration. Why are they frustrated? We are asking questions they don't know the answers to. What else? No one to help them. What else? All of these things are true. I'm not looking for another answer. Just, do you have another one? Not interested in the subject. So now I talked at her and she sat and listened to me. And I said my piece and she should go and do her work. And then she turns into a boy in this picture, of course. But she gets there and gets so frustrated that she changed cognitive. But really, that's the best frustration picture you're going to see. But can we really consider that inspired learning? If what we're trying to do is get them interested in what we're talking about, is that really inspirational? Maybe we could look at the future state of the classroom. Look how peaceful and relaxed he is. He's enjoying some at-home learning. And maybe we're stretching the truth a little bit, and we'll get back to that. But he looks pretty relaxed. In class, we've seen that picture before. Engaged students. Really people taking the time to interact with one another and have meaningful discussions with students. That could really be inspired learning. This is where I think flipped classroom can go. And again, I don't want you to believe that you need to flip your entire classroom today, but I want to give you some suggestions on even if you get one class going, one class session. What if you do it once? All right, so let's see what we can do. Any questions before we get to the specifics? Yes, please. So the question was, is this what a hybrid course is? So a hybrid course, technically the definition would be some of it online, some of it in the classroom. And so, yes, it can be hybridized. Yeah. So this is pretty simple. And really, we're just kind of shifting where these things happen. So we're going to start at the top, learn the content. Okay, we're going to learn the content, and at that moment, we can do that in the classroom. You're going to stand up in the front and say, this is everything you need to know. Go read your textbooks. Okay? And you finger point maybe a little bit. But do your students read your textbooks? Not many. Does anybody's students, like, absolutely my students read the textbook? No hands are raised. I do see you have a question. Can I take it really quick, please? Okay. So we're flipping our classroom activities, and I'm going to show you how it can also be integrated into your online classrooms if you're only online, because the principles are the same. This is my theory. Correct. So what I'm talking about, thank you for clarifying, because the title of the presentation is the flipped classroom model. Right now I'm just explaining what the flipped classroom looks like, and we're going to use that model for all of our development. Thank you so much for that clarification. I truly appreciate it. Anything else I can clarify before I go on? Excellent. So learning the content, we've agreed they're not necessarily reading the textbooks. Okay. So if they're not reading the textbooks but we expect them to, maybe we need to deliver the content in a different way. Okay? We think of that as lecture. Okay, well, if I don't tell them during lecture, they're never going to learn it. How many head nods can we see for that one? Okay, so first of all, they have to come to lecture and they have to listen to me because I am the only one who's going to do it to them. But what if we could give them that content in manageable bites, manageable portions online that they can then use to review when they need it, on subjects they need. We're going to talk about the benefits of that and how we do that here shortly. Apply their knowledge, that's the dream. That's the dream. Not memorizing, we want them to apply, okay? We give them that homework, they start ripping their hair out at home. We bring it to them in some sort of forum where we are with them, they're with their colleagues. It can be a completely different experience. Discuss and review, that's when you swoop back in, bring it all back home together, tie what they were doing with the major knowledge content, and deliver them truly to where they have learned, not that I have taught them. I feel like that's a very different thing. So in general terms, flipped classroom, it's still instructor guided, okay? You're not just like, oh, well now you can do whatever you want. No. It is, however, student-centered. We are going to try to tailor our materials, our methods, to what the students actually want to do and can do, instead of what we did when we were in college. We all did that, right? I sat in a lecture hall with 250 people and I took notes diligently. And I did this. Look, why don't my students do it? They don't do it because they're different than we are. They just are. It's rigorous. It is not easy. They are not self-learning. They are not doing all of those things. It is still rigorous, okay? And it is also creative, okay? Teachers are inherently creative people. We have learned a long time ago that there's a subject we're interested in, and we're good at explaining it to other people. I mean, that's kind of some of the basics of being a teacher, being able to really translate challenging information into something a group of people can understand. So that's a creative process, and it's also rich in quality interactions. It's not just you and I emailing back and forth. It's not you shutting down because you don't understand this topic, you didn't do the assignment. It isn't self-paced. Okay, this isn't students doing things at their own level. It's not student-controlled. Okay, that's very different than student-centered. It's not instructorless, and it's also not. I'm worried about the language. Any English majors in here? Okay, what isn't a flipped classroom? A flipped classroom isn't not possible. Like I knew it was wrong. I have to admit. So it isn't impossible. How about that? Sorry for the grammatical issues, and I'm a word person and I missed it. It's possible for your subjects. I have yet to talk to a person in discussing flipped classroom models that has come up with a subject that we couldn't come up with an idea on how to make it work. So let's break it down into steps. We're going to start with a clear objective. We're going to go through these one by one, so don't madly type, don't do anything like that. My slides will also be available on my website, all of that. So just enjoy. Let's have a student-centered, no, I'm just kidding. Okay, start with clear objectives. We're going to choose instructional materials, select our method of assessment, design our in-class assignments, interact and provide feedback, offer time for reflection. That sounds like a lot of changes. But let's talk about what it really means and how it might work for you. I added that little thing and forgot. Okay, setting our objectives. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to all take 20, 30 seconds and think of an existing lesson in your course, some topic that you cover that you think is either important or something you typically love. Just take a few seconds, think of one thing. Now's when I start calling on people. So, does anybody want to share an idea that they'd like to take through this process? Yeah. Oh, the U.S. Supreme Court. Yeah, we'll be good. I'll do good. So the U.S. Supreme Court. That's a really wonderful topic. And what course would this be for? So an American government class, an introductory level. Excellent. So is everybody okay using that as our example as we go through? Because we're going to do this together. Yeah. I would say so. I think that when that's the thing that you come up with and you have a topic that you're very interested in, you can start from there. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay? Determine what the objectives are. This is true for all of our planning, but we want to think of it in this new format. What should our students know at the end of the lesson? So about the U.S. Supreme Court, there's probably a myriad things that they need to know. from the structure to how they make their decisions, what their actual authority is as opposed to what's implied. Yeah. How cases get to them. So she is listing now her objectives for what students should know. What should they be able to do with this information? Do with it, yeah, I know, right? And please, other suggestions. What should a student be able to do that? No polishing of furniture, that was just my goal always in the class is that they become better citizens. Okay. Can consume information about politics where they can vote and they know what they're talking about. Excellent. You interact in the world and understand what systems they're living in and what things mean when it's a Supreme Court decision. They don't know how it affects them. Sorry. So much stuff. I was going to try and repeat it as she was going. It was amazing.
Oh, well, just to make them, you know, real citizens in a Jeffersonian way, where people are actually able to participate in government because they know what it means.
Excellent. So truly understanding how to participate in government, okay, and be informed citizens in a democratic society. That's a huge, lofty be able to do. Yes, ma'am. Hold on just 1 second. Blaine's going to bring you a microphone because this is brilliant.
You've got to behave.
There are people joining us online, so we want to be respectful. So
yeah, I think we should differentiate between two, let's say, outcomes that we need maybe to mention here.
Okay.
One of them may be related to my, let's say, subject matter, and some of these objectives or some of these outcomes may be related to being a good citizen or whatever, yes. Then I believe here we need to maybe sometimes concentrate more on, let's say, the SLOs that we are trying to achieve in my school. This is my point of view. I don't know.
Yeah. So what I think is that this is the beauty of why it's your classroom, okay? So there are going to be broad things you want them to be able to do to participate in a democratic society. It may not be your student learning outcome, right? But that may be truly one of your objectives, okay? And so when you're designing for you, for the assignment you thought up, for the topic you thought up, it really is powerful for you to get to decide what the objective is. So let's go with, they need to understand how the Supreme Court makes a decision. Okay, what is the process of that? We're going to stick with that. And to understand at the end of the lesson is that it is subjective but based in law. You know, that there are different things that can happen depending on the situation, how the bench is seated. This is me as a geologist trying to talk about government. So that was respectful as best I could do. But so you are looking at your true objective. So if our objective is to look at how the Supreme Court makes a decision and practice that, well, we've just come up kind of with an instructional content that we can look at. So we want to prepare them for an activity to discuss this, okay? How do we get instructional content? We can go with what's already there. The Open Education Consortium that people have been hearing about, especially this weekend, but it's been in sounding for a while. It's amazing. It's available to all California Community College instructors, and it's there. It's ready for you. You need to do a little bit of searching. EduStream. I'm pitching for you. No?
Okay.
Oh, clarify. Uh-oh. I thought I was doing good things.
Little clarification. EduStream is now under, is now 3C Media Solutions.
It is.
So it's,
oh, I see. That shows you when I started this presentation, it was still EduStream. It does. So you can search for EduStream, but it's 3C Media Solutions. Thank you, Blaine. Sorry. YouTube and TeacherTube, okay? And we're going to talk about all the what-ifs, by the way, because you've already got arguments. I know it. TED Talks, Khan Academy, it's all there, okay? But what about captioning? Did anyone attend the Amara section yesterday? A couple of you? So there's a crowdsourcing of captioning for things. My favorite is TubeChop. Anybody messed with TubeChop before? Yeah. TubeChop lets you paste in the URL of an existing YouTube video, and you can then edit the piece that you want. You can crop it. Don't scroll to 3 minutes, 21 seconds and watch until 8:32. You can crop it yourself. Hey, tip. TubeChop, great resource, totally free online. And what if you want to develop your own? If you are teaching in the classroom, or if you don't mind making your own content, maybe the creativity flows in these rooms. So you can do that on YouTube. There have been sections in this conference already covering that, and there may still be one today. And then my personal favorite, which is Screencast-O-Matic, which was, I think I heard someone else use that. I just happen to love that one, where you just capture your screen and your voice. And with captioning on those, as long as you've prepared your content, what you're going to say, you can then just paste it into the notes and it will caption it for you. And also, someone was suggesting using something like speech recognition. So on a Mac, there's speech recognition built in, I believe. So as you're speaking it, it can be transcribing for you. Also, Dragon Naturally Speaking is another good one. That's about $150 though. But Dragon Dictation on your iPad for free. There you go. Yes, sir.
So just speaking of Screencast-O-Matic, through 3C Media Solutions, and I believe it was at one. Anyway, Lynn Mann has done, I think, 8 tapes for us. 4 of them on how to use Screencast-O-Matic, the free version, and another 4 on how to use Screencast-O-Matic, the pro version, the one that you actually pay for. And they'll be great for following up on this session.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Blaine. And I believe the pro version of Screencast-O-Matic is $15. That's an outlay of funds, but maybe you could get it in the budget. And I feel like the pro version gives you more editing capability, and it gets the logo off your screen, and you get it for a year. So, okay. What can I give you here? Because this is usually where maybe I get some questions. Wow. Yeah, I think, I added this little section here at the bottom to what there used to be a pretty picture, right? So maybe that addressed a lot of the questions, because we want to make sure that we're ADA compliant. We want to make sure that we're making life easier. So can I take that in a second and ask now, if we're talking about the Supreme Court and we're looking at how they make decisions, do you think there's stuff available out there that you could find? Okay, and now I'm going to ask you specifically, is there stuff you already have saved on your computer, like you bookmarked, or you have a website already that you collect these videos?
I show them little PBS videos.
Yeah.
They're little snippets, and then I lecture around it.
Perfect. So you already have the content. How many people in this room have some content that you either show in class, you show on your online website? So maybe only 30%. I would have thought maybe a little higher, but I'll take 30 to 40%. I round it up again. I'll take it. So a lot of us, though, already have some content in mind. We've seen something. We love a piece of this. There was a Frontline episode about it. Who knows? Okay, and you can use TubeChop to pick the pieces you think are important. Why do we want to chop the videos? Why do we not want to give them 54 minutes of video? They can only listen to 3 minutes. That was a very clear comment. So in general, the attention span has shifted. It's going down. Mine has, yours has, sorry to say. We all like to put our heads in our devices. I mean, it's not just our students, it's us too. I'm looking out at this room. So I feel like if we keep that in mind and don't post 54-minute videos, we post 10 5-minute videos, even if it's a 54-minute video chopped into 10 pieces, we have just made our students happier and more likely to watch the content. They may have 5 minutes on the way to work on the trolley. I live in San Diego, haha, trolley. But they may have 5 minutes on a break at work and they can watch one of the 5-minute pieces. Those simple things make all the difference. I have a question in the back.
One of the biggest complexities we've had is both from the ADA perspective of using external videos. Some of the videos that we use aren't ADA accessible, and we don't necessarily have the influence to require people to do that for their videos. And the second is kind of the ownership component of, you know, especially you keep mentioning Tube Chop.
Yeah.
I don't know if you are concerned at all with just taking someone's video and chopping out a couple of minutes.
You know, it's a very valid question, and it brings up a really important point, and I'm going to take your second comment first, if that's all right. And that is always attribution, always, always. And again, that's a self-monitoring thing. When you have instructional designers who can help you, they can definitely guide you, but a lot of us are on our own, and maybe wanting to try and make these adjustments. So informed attribution is key. And it can, in my experience, what I've done is said, this is from this program. It is a snippet. Here's a link to the full video. That's my standard way of doing things. But that doesn't mean that anyone's enforcing it on me. That is my choice to do so. So when it comes from an IT perspective and wanting to make sure that the people who are working with you are attributing it correctly, I don't know necessarily how to monitor that. And as to your prior question, will you remind me? I lost it. Sorry. Oh.
Yeah, ADA stuff. Captioning and et cetera.
100% essential in my book. Like, I don't mess around. And so if there is a way to get support from your IT, a lot of times they're there to help you. On this topic, they're always there to help you. They are always there to help you. But maybe you may have to ask nicely for help with stuff like this, okay? And also there are now tools at your disposal. You know, there really are. But it's up to you to use them. You can't, I'm dancing around it a little because it's a personal choice of how you deal with that. Yeah.
Just, if you're a part of the California Community College system, captioning is funded. You request it, it's DECT, captioning is funded. If you do archives, as we're doing now, there's a captioner online right now, that's funded as well. So if you're doing instructional video, you can make a request, it will be funded. You don't have to worry about is it coming from the local campus, etc. Braille, we have a center that actually develops Braille material. So DECT, that's College of the Canyons, is now running that grant. I'll have to get you the DECT is the name of the captioning grant. You stop by the booth that has 3C Media Solutions, CCC Confer, and something else, you'll see they're giving away little Sidekick coasters. And the Sidekick includes the folks that are doing the high-tech stuff.
That's amazing. Thank you.
It is amazing.
I'm so grateful Blaine is here, by the way. This is Blaine Moore. I'm sure you've seen him presenting and all of that. I have to tell them he knows all and sees all. He's the wizard. Yes, ma'am. Okay, 2 comments. Hold on for the microphone, please.
Yes, I'll make it. Okay. This is Tamina from Mount Sinai Winter College. And those of you who have stopped at the @ONE booth, take their flyers. They offer @ONE a teaching certification program, and I'm not advertising for them, okay? This is just an independent observation and experience. They offer all these classes. So you'd learn what to do, what not to do in all of those 6 classes. And particularly I've used the Screencast-O-Matic, and if the transcript doesn't come out, there's ways you can just PDF and change the format and upload it to make the correct format, which would be ADA.
That's excellent. Thank you so much. The booth there's the @ONE booth, and then there's also...
It's right next to the Blackboard booth, I think.
We had another question right here, maybe 2.
Right.
Okay.
Actually, it's a comment.
Oh, yes.
I'm the copyright officer at my college.
Welcome.
Here you go.
Please correct me in my wrong ways, please.
No, you have no wrong ways.
Okay.
I just wanted to assure everybody here that as long as you have your material behind a login, Moodle, Blackboard, whatever, you can use snippets. That's not a problem. Attribution is important,
yes,
like you said, but under Title 17, federal copyright law, it's fine.
I'm so grateful for you being here and for your comment, and hooray, the whole room just got a little lighter, I think. Thank you so very much.
Okay, and I got, boy, you're not going to be able to present it all.
That's okay.
This is really flipping her class right here.
I like it. I love a community.
This is what I was talking about, Sidekick. It's, so if you're looking for, where do I find this stuff? Toolsthatinspire.com incorporates all of the stuff that we've talked about, which includes the distance education, captioning, and transcription. That's DECT. I forgot what it was. And HTCTU. And the text is too small for you to read it. And ATPC, and those are the guys that do the Braille stuff. So all that stuff. Just pick up one of these and you'll know.
Thank you so much. So there's a reason he's here with me today. I'm very, very lucky. All right. So we've got instructional content. I believe that was slide number 2 in our list. Here we go. Assessment options. So this meme is a little outdated, let's be honest, but I do still like it. I think it's valuable. So a lot of the concern that comes around the flipped model is how do you assess learning, okay? If they're quote-unquote learning the content at home with the materials we provided, the textbook, additional readings, videos, how are we assessing them for learning? Of course, some places use online quizzes. So before you walk in the room, you complete your quiz. And guess what? If you don't complete your quiz before you come into the classroom, you don't participate. And we'll talk about what the alternatives are down the road. Journaling. I'm a big fan. I never used to really be behind it because I'm a scientist. Like, I don't want to talk about feelings. No. But really, what can you journal? But the power of this, if you think about it, is if they're watching these snippets at home, okay? And again, this is true if you're only online. If they're watching these snippets and you want to see if they're comprehending, what better way than a quick half-page, three-quarter-page journal to explain what they learned, okay? That it's really not necessarily that you need to give super detailed feedback on this, but it's them processing the information and giving it back to you. It's student-centered. They're telling you what they've learned, okay? Discussion boards, well, we love them, we hate them. You know, but let's just say there are ways to make them more engaging. And just a little side note, me and my dragon, naturally speaking, me on my headset. Excellent work on this initial post this week, Thomas. I really enjoyed the way it took my grading of discussion boards in 1/3 of the time. So if you've got a Mac with the dragon on board, give it a try. It's just totally aside from Flipped Classroom. This is maybe in the past 4 months I figured this out, and my grading time was cut to 1/3 of what it was on discussion boards and interacting. I really like your Mac with a dragon on board. That was good, huh? So if you have an iPad, it has Dragon already on it, which is voice, I lost it, voice recognition, and it will just type what you say. And is it on an iMac? Does anybody know? On an iPhone? On a MacBook, like an Air?
Yeah.
So, yeah, we talked yesterday. Yeah, Dragon. So the company is, oh, I can see the logo. Nuance. Okay. Built into the OS.
They're all talking everywhere. Just
Sorry. You don't? So Nuance is a company that created a product called Dragon. You can purchase it. It's called Dragon Naturally Speaking when you purchase it. It comes installed on most, I'm going to go with most, Mac, Apple products. Yes, sir. Please, if you know about this, cover me.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Dragon, its various versions, like Dragon Naturally Speaking, for example, that's an application. That's made by a company. You can install it on a number of different computers, including Windows computers. Separate from that, Apple has built-in speech recognition in OS X. It's had it for a long time. If you have any type of a MacBook Air, MacBook Pro, iMac, anything current from Apple is going to have built-in speech recognition. You need to turn it on. So you may think that your Mac doesn't have it, but if you go into your system preferences, you can find it there and you can turn it on. And so basically, if you have Windows, you can install Dragon.
Yeah.
If you have a Mac, you've already got it built in. I didn't know about the fact, apparently, that Dragon also makes an app for the iPad. That's a third variant, but
I think
that's what I want to
knows
express.
about this. Thank you so much for sharing. I think Luann has a tip on the iPad, and then I promise we'll move on. I know these sidebars, though, are where magic happens, I think. I want to get to this, but this is good information, so thank you for your patience.
People have a lot of problems finding it on the Mac because what you're talking about is to tell the Mac to do something, but if you open up an application like if you have Microsoft Word on your Mac, and you go to the Edit menu, and you'll see a thing that says Start Dictation, and you start your dictation there. Also, on the iPad, you can download the free app, Dragon Dictation. And I ride a recumbent bike in the morning before work with my iPad, and I talk my emails into Dragon Dictation. It puts it in like a little notepad, and then I copy paste it into my email system. Or if you have a newer version of the email, there's actually a little microphone there that you just press and you can talk.
That is incredibly cool. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge. This just shows, again, it's a community. I went to a session yesterday where we talked about informal learning, right? With accidental learning. We stumbled upon this, and hopefully, let's hope some people in the room are very pleased with this information. One more quick question. We need to get going. We have one more question. No, please. Online quiz question. We're going to get the mic. Just one sec. Please don't apologize.
Okay. I'm not sure.
Okay.
All right.
Don't be sorry.
Online quizzes, you said that if they don't take it ahead of time, they can't participate.
Correct.
But my chair of my department has told me I can't grade them based on whether or not they show up to class, and I can't tell them to get out of class unless they threaten my life or something. So how do you? We have so many rules at community colleges. I just wondered, how do you say don't participate? You sit in the corner with a dunce cap.
So you know what? We're going to jump ahead and we're going to answer that question because it is important. It is important. So the model that I learned and that I've been evolving since I learned about it was that if a student comes without having taken whatever online quiz, and I don't mean they aced it, it may only be one question, okay? But as long as if they did not complete the online quiz, they are asked to sit elsewhere in the room. So when we start to get to the in-class activities, which I believe is next, I promise we're going to get to that, they have a separate in-class activity. And that in-class activity is to do the reading and watching they were supposed to do before they came. And they do not get to participate in the other part. Okay? So it's punitive without being get out of my classroom. And it's not embarrassing because there's not just going to be one, at least not in the beginning. Because the goal here is not to humiliate and segregate or anything like that. It's just, if you're not ready, why don't you take the time and get ready? That's okay. And it's all in how it's delivered. So I think it's not be gone with thee. It's more, all right, well, let's try again. Yeah. Excellent. All right. Entrance polls. So if you don't like the online quiz idea, do an entrance poll. Anybody use clickers? Are those still around? So clickers, do a quick clicker, and if you didn't get it right, you got to move over there. We're going to talk about something different on that side. Yes, we have a question. Oh, no.
Just one comment. Polleverywhere.com.
Poll everywhere. Polleverywhere.com. And they can use their smartphones. Oh my goodness. And if they don't have their phone, they can't participate. But does anybody in here not have your phone?
Knock it off.
Does anybody in here not have their phone with them? This isn't to be nasty, I'm just wondering, did anybody forget their phone today? And we're old. I'm old. I usually forget my, no. I think the poll everywhere has a lot of different options available. And you can access via your laptop as long as you're a device-friendly classroom. And again, this is possible online as well with your online classes. It doesn't have to be synchronous. Certain accounts, yeah, the free account is limited to 40 people. I did look at that, and that was discouraging. Surveys, SurveyMonkey, why not do a survey? If you don't like quizzes, why not do a survey? Ask a couple questions, have them be short answer. And then student-created content, this is kind of my favorite. Have them do a little 1-minute video of what they learned from the materials they read before they got in there. Pick your favorite to share with the class. You know, with their permission. With their permission. But there are different ways to gauge that they've done the preparatory material. Whether you are online, if you want them to have read through the material before they move forward, okay, you can have a stop sign and have them check in with you. But I know at Hartnell we use Etudes, which is like a Sakai-based learning management system. Okay? And you can set it up where if they don't do this thing, they cannot access the next content. I'm sure that's true in other course management systems. Again, so this is part of the flipped model that we can incorporate to our online classes. Why not check for learning before moving forward? It seems reasonable to me. In-class activities. Well, this is just a brain dump. I mean, honestly, what can't you do in class? When your whole time is spent, here I am speaking the truth to you, which I love to hear my own voice. I love to make people laugh. I love to point at screens. I love to click the clicker. Okay? I love all of this. I love it. And I'm sure many of you do too, whether or not you admit it. But I open the floor up for us to talk, debate, give me information, teach me things I don't know. I'm not flipping this, but I'm open. And many of you probably are too. But think of what we still can't do. I can't get in here and design something for you. We're working with the case study of the Supreme Court, but I'm not going to invent it today. But if we had 90 minutes or 60 minutes to sit together, you and me, we're going to invent something. We're going to come up with a new hypothesis. It's powerful. And online, small groups. So I'm talking about small groups in the classroom and online. 4 to 5 people. And yes, I think I should just start embedding these. I have a slide at the end that's like, but what about this? And I think maybe I should just do it now. But what about shy people? I'm not shy. But I know some shy people. And studies have shown that in small group work, people don't like it, whether you're shy or not shy. Because it's uncomfortable, it's new, you don't necessarily want to work, I just want to get my grade and get out the door. Just tell me what I have to do so I can get out. The real world is not like that. The real world is small groups, it's large groups. Why not give them some practice? Online, on the ground. Have them critique something. Have them produce something together. It's powerful stuff that they can do with class time, okay, if you're on the ground. And it's powerful things you can do for your activities that aren't just, hey, write another paper, hey, do this other discussion board. How about work with 3 other people and debate this topic? Why do you think the Supreme Court justices divided this way? Why does this person write the opinion? Why does this one write the dissent? I'm showing off right now. I listen to NPR. Have them judge each other's work. Create things. I mean, you get this. We're all creative people in this room. You see the value. It's just really rethinking with that one assignment that you started with, that one topic. What could your students organize in small groups? What could they do? Think for a second. What could they critique? Is there something that you've read in my environmental science class, which is completely online now? They read different climate change articles. Look for the facts and the science, debate it in their small groups, and present to each other. Okay? Online, completely. Because where are the facts in your topic? Where are the judgments in your topic? And then the idea of deconstructing, that one was kind of new to me, really breaking something down, looking for all the assumptions. Oh my gosh, we're building critical thinking skills here, right? So using the flipped classroom model of having real activities, that was a bit too much, real activities in your room, have them in your online room too. Who says it has to be discussion board, quiz, lab, writing assignment? That it can be broader. And I have a feeling that a lot of you already have activities like this in your on-the-ground and your online classes. Even if it's just one, right? You have something that you know works like this. I bet. So then you get to have in-class interactions, okay? And if you're online, we'll talk about what that means. But if you're on the ground or hybrid, what that means is you get to listen to them instead of the other way around and hear maybe where they're missing something. You can guide them in that moment and say, you know, have you thought about it like this? Let me suggest this to you. I can encourage your line of thinking. I've never heard it said that way before. How would you explain it to this person? And share with each other, build on what they've learned, and really strengthen the relationships. When you walked in here, you didn't know me, but I hope that if you see me today, you'll be like, hey, that'd be nice. And I've been looking around the room at your faces, and I hope I would do the same. And that's in 30 and 45 minutes. Imagine what your class looks like when I strengthen that relationship. If you're online, you strengthen that relationship. I went to a session yesterday. It was like, make sure you use their first name when you address them. Absolutely. Online, you get all that opportunity. All that opportunity for more interactions, not just, I've graded your work and here's what I think of it. It's an important component of teaching, yes, assessing learning. But what about strengthening learning? Reflections. I love this idea, and I'm not very good at it yet, but I love it. So this was modeled, again, in Dr. Martin's classroom where I started here, where he had exit tickets, exit passes. As you're walking out the door, everyone had a little slip of paper that they got, and they had to say, what's the next thing you want to know, or what's the one thing you didn't understand? It doesn't have to be this question. And it can be in an online class, when you're finished with a module, you're finished with a chapter, you have a place where they can ask something they didn't understand, free of judgment. And you can come back to them and say, hey, it seems like this part was unclear, and let me guide you to this resource. Again, that's what we love about this. Someone's interested now. They're asking for more information. That's powerful to me. If you want to know the next thing, I want to be able to show you what the next thing is, or how to find it yourself, and empower them to do so. Post-journaling. Again, maybe I'm overstretching on the journaling. I don't know how many journals you want to read all the time. But, you know, maybe you didn't like it on the front end, you like the idea here on the back end. Doing a 5-minute review. If you're on the ground, saying, okay, let's review what we did here with our small groups. What are the main points? Let's have someone report out from each group, or from this group over here. I'll randomly select because you're smiling, or I like your shirt. And then following up when you come back, when you start the next module online, when you walk in the door the next time. Remember where we left off. I have all your exit tickets, and the theme in the exit tickets was that this part we needed help on. Or boy, we were all over the place, so we need to go back. Okay? You're collecting information without it being overwhelming, I think. I think it's more practical. You know, wouldn't you love to know what part it is they don't get? And especially online. Oh my gosh, I have to tell my silly story. How many minutes do I have? 12. Okay, silly story. It's like 1 minute. I wear glasses for distance, okay? I can read this fine, and if I'm having a close-up conversation with you, I usually take them off because I don't necessarily want to see all of the details. Sounds very polite, huh? But for distance, I need them. So when I would be at the front of a traditional classroom, and I would take my glasses off to write, okay, because otherwise it was way too big and I couldn't see. And I would look out across the room, and there was a day where I could see everyone's faces were like pinched up, okay, and they looked very confused. And I thought, okay, well, let me try it again. And I'd explain the same concept another way, and I'd look out, and again, they were just, especially the back row, they just really looked perplexed. And after the third explanation, a different language, different drawing, you know, different interpretive dance to explain what I'm trying to explain to them, I put my glasses on, and I said, what's going on? And they all had these crushed up faces because someone had brought in sour candy. And they were all eating these sour candies, and their faces were all pinched. And I thought, I'm misinterpreting what they need because I can't see them. And if that's not online education, one of the concerns of online education, I don't know what is. So when I look at my classroom online, I can't see what they need. I see where they're doing badly on tests or on the discussion board, they're off topic, but what they need, I can't see. So this sort of reflective moment is something you can add to your face-to-face. You can add it to your online classes and really start to see what your students truly need that you can step in and help them with. Please, we have a question. Jump. He does. Yeah. He does.
Just a quick question.
Please.
The exit ticket, do you
yes.
do it anonymous? Or
absolutely anonymously. Absolutely. Yeah. Does anybody use something similar to this in this room, just out of curiosity? Yay! So a couple of hands. I mean, this can be a real powerful thing, I think. I encourage it to all instructors, all professors across the board. So let's look at a couple best practices. We're kind of winding up here. Take small bites. This is true online, on the ground. Take small bites. Don't, oh, now I have to get a new textbook and redesign my course, and I don't have the money, and I don't have the time. There's an assignment. You have it in your head. You know what it is, the thing that you can try this out with. And if you don't, you can talk to your neighbor about it once I shush my mouth, and really tease it out. Really tease it out. The beauty here is that you can really look at multiple learning styles, okay? Think of your top 10% students. What would they like out of this model? Well, they can go through it quickly. Where they don't need help, they don't need help. Please don't tell me 3 different times because I have a scrunched up face, okay? I don't need to hear it 3 times, right? But what if somebody needs to hear it 3 or 4 times? You have a non-native speaker, you have someone who is an audio learner and needs to hear it over and over and over again to get it. We're also helping them, okay? We're helping the spectrum. You can align it to your textbook without being like, read your textbook, okay? They'll pick it up, they might not. We can't force them to read it. Can't force them to do anything, but we can offer it to them in a palatable way. 5 to 7 minute bites. We like bites here. Use that 5-minute review theory that we were just talking about asking what they need. Take a minute, ask your students before they move on. Okay? Make sure that if you're on the ground or online, that you're not just grading, well, it's optional, or your quiz is 80% of your grade and participation is 20. If you like this model, if you like what the idea can bring to your classroom of really higher order thinking skills, activities, more group learning, if you like that, make it valuable to their grade or else they won't participate, straight up. There is a question or a comment on this one. While we're waiting, I'm going to say start with fun, because fun is important.
Yeah,
and then
regarding grading, like you said, you have these online quizzes, and these are done before.
Correct.
They have the material. I have some of my students talking about okay, how can we have grades without you didn't introduce the material. Oh. They have objections okay, you can't when I'm collecting their feedback, one of the things they were talking about, how can we have a quiz for something you didn't cover, or you covered the same day and you assume that we know everything about it and you are using this for our grades.
So it's an excellent question, because what are you asking on that quiz? Because if you're expecting them to have full knowledge content, you're probably not going to get it. You're not going to see it. You want to just get the idea that they've looked at it, touched it, more than you would expect when they walk in and you know they haven't read the book. We kind of raised our hands on that one, okay? But here, if your key to entry to the next module, your key to entry to the next classroom is that you've contacted me in some way, either through an online quiz or a journal, to somehow report out that you have touched this material and you see what it's about and you get where we're going. So I wouldn't equate it to a content quiz, right? Not like a end of chapter quiz. It would be more of a, hey, are you with me quiz. I'm going to patent that. No, that. We have another question or comment. Thank you.
There are quite a few studies that show that grades are demotivators. Yeah. And as a teacher of English, I want students to take risks in their writing, and so a sure way to guarantee they won't is to put a mark on everything that they write. And so regardless of which modality I'm teaching, I tell them up front, these are the only pieces of writing that are going to get assessed with a grade. And at first, it takes them a while to get used to that. Early in the semester, they think, oh, well, it's not, but they begin to understand, and I make them repeat after me that, you know, my advice is priceless, it's worth gold, and so they, you know, that's better than a grade. But after a while, they really begin to understand that when they do this practice writing and they get feedback on that, that actually benefits them when they get the assessment.
I like that.
And so grades, I think grades, we perpetuate the problem of students being, you know, giving that Pavlovian response to the A, you know, and dripping all over the floor. So I think we can set those parameters in our classroom if we want.
I like that. I like that a lot. And again, I don't mean to be blasé about it at all, but it's truly the beauty of it's not one size fits all. Taking these tools and utilizing however you can in whatever works with your students in your work environment, that's the beauty of it. But my suggestion to you is, do they do peer grading yet, or like other ways that they can interact with one another that brings out these higher order skills? And that doesn't have to be graded, but I like the idea of that. And I mean, I went to UC Santa Cruz, and when I went there, they didn't give out grades. So I didn't have any grades for undergrad. It's pretty impressive. And they still let me in graduate school. Okay, another tip that I learned, and this was from a previous presentation I gave on this topic that someone suggested to me, and I did a little research, and the case studies have shown that rotating groups regularly is really the best. And it wasn't something I had ever really thought about, especially online. But I guess once you get that defined position, you kind of stay there like, I'm the boss, and you're the creative one, and you're the this. So a good idea is to mix it up, and it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to produce discomfort online and in the classroom. Oh well, it's called real life. So model good behavior. There you go. How about that? And the activities for those who aren't prepared. Again, I touched on this earlier, a little out of context here, but the idea that it's not punishment. It's not that you are shamed for not being prepared. It's more, since you're not quite ready for this activity, how about you take this time, it's your class time already, and get to this point, and then come join us. And I think with that kind of mentality, it's more of a positive, and they will want to achieve more at that level because it's encouraging. How do you infuse your own style? Because this is really about you and how you want to present your material to your students. I couldn't say it any more times, so I'm not going to say it. Find the resources that you would use. What ones do you go to when you want to explain it to someone? I realized that I could teach geology when I explained the concepts of plate tectonics to my mother on a cocktail napkin at a bar. And I was like, if I can do that, and my mother has a high school education and graduated a long, long time ago, and you know, she's not a science person, but I was able to describe it to her. She's like, I totally get it. And I was like, that's my moment. That will always be my moment when I would, I'm pretty good at this. Okay, I can share information in a simple way. And that, I come back to that to regain my passion. Because a lot of this is about what brought you to your subject. What is it that you love? Share that. Wow, when I'm teaching to a textbook or I have to meet these SLOs, sometimes I forget, I like this stuff. I'm interested in this subject. Okay? And when you look at the possibilities of using the flipped classroom model on the ground or online, it gives you that opportunity to touch back to that part of yourself that was inspired to teach in the first place. And I think that's the key. So I hope for you, we did these. I was going to do them, but you know, what about these people? And I think we touched on most of these. Not knowing where to start. Where are you going to start? You start where you are. Oh, I love that. I love that. But there's something you love most of all. How about start there? For me, it was volcanoes. I love volcanoes. I love them. I was a math major when I started college. My financial aid did not come in. I had to get a full-time job. When I was at UC Santa Cruz, I worked at Kinko's. I worked the midnight shift so I can go to school. And then my financial aid came in 3 weeks before the end of the term, and they dropped money on me. I went, I'm going to Hawaii. I put that on published. Uh-oh, this is going to be online. Oh, sorry. I used it for educational purposes in Hawaii because I went to Hawaii and went on the volcano tour and came back, and I changed my major and became a geologist. So there. It was for educational purposes. Why should you do it? Everybody's attention span is dwindling. Mine is, yours is, our students are. It lets us use all this amazing technology we learn about at these conferences and that we use in our own lives. Gives the students accountability outside of the classroom. What? If we know they're not reading the textbook, what can we give them so that they're accountable for their own student-centered learning? What? We increase participation and engagement with our students. Hopefully we're not going to see heads down. We're not going to have this anymore, right? Have you seen that maybe? Thank you so very, very much. Thank you. Thank you all for participating as well. I appreciate